Hi, I'm Dana. I usually make content for other autistic people to help them feel a bit less alone and to feel a bit less alone myself. However, we've come to Autism Awareness Month, which is when lots of people that aren't autistic suddenly want to talk about us. And as someone who talks about autism pretty much all the time, it feels a lot like our voices get drowned out at this time of year, when really it's the time of year when we should be being heard the most. So unlike my usual content, this video is specifically geared towards people that aren't autistic, because I want to tell you a bit about what it's like to be autistic, and I want to tell you a bit about what you can do to actually help us this month. Because as much as a lot of autistic people experience this month as absolute hell, I'm aware that a lot of the people that are discussing autism at this time of year actually care, you know? Like, you guys actually want to support us and figure out what you can do and understand better, and you're not being provided with the resources to do so. So hopefully this can act like a little bit of one of those. But I do have to say that I do not speak for the autistic community. There's a lot of different thoughts and opinions that get thrown around in the autistic community, and every single one of us is a very different person to the last a lot of the time. So these are my thoughts and my opinions and my experiences, but they do not relate to every autistic person. Every autistic person you meet will be different. That's one of the great things about people, whether you're autistic or not. We are all different in some way. So although I do think that my thoughts and opinions align with the majority of the community, I'm definitely not speaking for or on behalf of the community, simply on behalf and for myself. And the first point I want to make, and one of the things that I hate most about Autism Awareness Month, is that it's called Autism Awareness Month, when I don't think I've ever met anyone that isn't aware of autism. You know, there's lots and lots of autistic people in the world. Most of you will have met an autistic person at some point. We're aware of autism. What we need is acceptance of autistic people. We need acceptance of the ways that we behave and the traits that we have. We need acceptance of the accommodations that we need. There's lots and lots of things that we need, and awareness isn't currently one of them. There's some in the community that I'd also rather have it be called autism appreciation or even autistic pride. And I don't think either of them are bad ideas. I just personally prefer autism acceptance because I think that's what we need. You know, but to be accepted, people need more understanding of what it is to be autistic. And you might notice that I'm saying to be autistic, not to have autism, because that's a big one for me. I much prefer identity first language, because I don't feel like I have autism. I am autistic. It's a part of who I am. It impacts the way that I live, it impacts the things that I do, it impacts who I am as a person. You know, to me, to say that I have autism feels a lot like I'm like carrying autism around in my pocket, and when it becomes an inconvenience I can just leave it somewhere else. When the fact of the matter is, it's an intrinsic part of who I am. There's no point where being autistic doesn't impact the way that I am living, the person that I am. It's like saying I have tallness because I'm 5'11". I don't have tallness, I am tall. And this is going to differ from autistic person to autistic person. There's definitely people in the community that prefer to say that they have autism, and that's entirely valid. I would never ever suggest that you correct someone for saying that they have autism if they're talking about them having autism. If you ever see someone say that I have autism, please do correct them. I don't have autism, I am autistic. But it's a very personal thing, and everyone should be respected for however they prefer it to be referred. And the other side of having autism is that it makes it sound like something that you can cure. And that's something that a lot of people want to do. And number one, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it, you know, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I don't think that they're ever going to figure out how to cure autism, because it's not something wrong with me. It's a part of who I am. It's a difference, not a deficit, I suppose. You know, you wouldn't be curing me of something that debilitates me, you'd be removing a part of who I am. You know, I think most people, and especially the parents of autistic children, when they are saying that they want a cure, they're looking for a way to help us and make our lives easier, when the fact of the matter is curing our autism would just be changing who we are. And I don't think that any of my struggles actually come from me being autistic. Most of my struggles come from the way that other people react to me being autistic and my autistic traits. You know, finding a cure for autism would make it really easy for me to go shopping in a supermarket. But you know what else would make it really easy? Turning the music and beeping off. I'd be fine then. You know, so many of the struggles that autistic people face come from the society that we live in, not from us being autistic. So finding a cure for autism wouldn't actually help a lot of us because it'd just change who we are. You know, I can't imagine that it's actually even possible for me to like get a shot or something and suddenly, oh, all of my sensory issues are gone. I don't think that's how it would ever work. Which brings us around to another downside of this looking for a cure, which is that it often comes back to eugenics. They don't want to find a cure. They want to figure out how to tell if someone's going to be autistic while they're still in the womb so that we aren't born at all. They just want to ensure that no autistic people are created. And that's disgusting and sucky and just horrific. There is nothing wrong with being autistic, and the fact that they don't even want us to be born and they want to cure us, it's just gross. It's not something that should be endorsed. It's not something that should be praised. It's not something that most autistic people want. However, again, we're all different. And I would never ever tell another autistic person that they're wrong for wanting a cure. It's difficult to be autistic, and if they view it as something that would make it easier for them to live, something that they would like to happen, I'm going to leave them to it. That's their thoughts and opinions, and it's not up to any of us to shit on them. The best thing that you can do for autistic people isn't finding us a cure. It's listening to us. It's not drowning out our voices with your own. It's listening to what we actually have to say. You know, not necessarily me. I'm definitely not the smartest autistic person out here, but there's lots and lots of really amazing autistic advocates that are telling you exactly what you can do to make life easier for autistic people. And they're being spoken over. And it's especially disgusting to see during Autism Awareness Month, when you're supposed to be more aware of our voices. You could just accept us instead, but you're at least supposed to be aware of us. It's in the name. If you're not autistic, chances are you're never going to understand what it is to be autistic. But by listening to autistic people, you can understand that we are people. You can understand the struggles that we go through. You can understand more of how normal we are. Like, we are just people that are a little bit different in how we think, you know? And obviously you get into like some... And of course, you get into some autistic people have higher support needs. They may not be able to speak in the way that I do. They may not be able to advocate for themselves in the way I do. But that doesn't diminish who they are. And every autistic person deserves to be listened to in whatever capacity they're able to communicate. And whether they have the same opinions as me or not, every autistic person should be listened to. Especially now. Because when you're listening to non-autistic people, especially autistic parents, I always try to be careful when talking about the parents of autistic children, because I know loads of you are great. I know that I've had so many people talk to me via DMs and the like that are parents to autistic children who aren't necessarily autistic themselves. And the vast majority of you are so fantastic and it's so nice to see. But the worst of you are often the loudest. I don't know why I'm specifically addressing parents of autistic kids now, but autism mommies is what I'm going to call them, because they're very different from the parents of autistic kid. Specifically autism mommies, please don't listen to them. Please fucking don't. They are the worst for speaking over autistic people. They are the worst for telling us that we're wrong about our own lived experiences. They're the worst for not fully recognising their children as people, for infantilising other autistic adults. I shouldn't single them out specifically, because there's a lot of people and a lot of organisations, a lot of companies and charities and all manner of other places that are speaking about autistic people without being autistic. And it's just not good. They don't have the understanding of what it is to be autistic. And all too often they don't want us to be autistic. They'd much rather force us into a little mould and teach us how to pretend to be like everyone else. They're not actually helping us in any way. They're not actually making us less autistic in any way. They're teaching us how to pretend more, and it's incredibly damaging. So that was a bit of a rant and a ramble, but just please listen to autistic people. You know, it doesn't even have to specifically be me. I will link some Twitter accounts and YouTubers and other people that I like that I think are really good autistic advocates down in the Dropbox, the comment, it'll be down below. I'll link a load of people, because there's so many great advocates that you should be listening to. And I also try to make sure that I'm following like a diverse array of autistic people, because we do exist from all walks of life. But there's such a diversity within the autism community, and you can learn about so much more than just being autistic. So please do try to listen to like a diverse amount of autistic voices. I think it's very important, and I think it's one of the best things that you can do to show support this month if you're trying to. If there's one place you don't listen to though, just one, please don't listen to Autism Speaks. They have no autistic people involved and they're incredibly damaging to a lot of autistic people. They've released ads implying that your marriage is over if you have an autistic child.
I am autism. I'm visible in your children, but if I can help it, I am invisible to you until it's too late. I know where you live, and guess what? I live there too. I hover around all of you. I know no color barrier, no religion, no morality, no currency. I speak your language fluently, and with every voice I take away, I acquire yet another language. I work very quickly. I work faster than pediatric AIDS, cancer, and diabetes combined. And if you are happily married, I will make sure that your marriage fails.
They've released ads implying that you should just drive off a cliff if you have an autistic child. Bit of an inaccuracy there. I was wrong, it wasn't an ad. It's in fact a short documentary that Autism Speaks. I'll play the clip in a moment. But the fact that this woman thinks it's okay to say this with her daughter right there, the fact that Autism Speaks thought that it was okay to put this in a fucking documentary, it's just vile. So I was wrong, it's not an ad, but this is the clip.
But I remember that was a very scary moment for me when I realized I had sat in the car for about 15 minutes and actually contemplated putting Jody in the car and driving off the George Washington Bridge, and that would be preferable.
They again want to look for a cure and basically just get into the whole eugenics thing again and to prevent us from ever being born in the first place. And they are not speaking on behalf of autistic people. It's called Autism Speaks, but like there is nothing autistic about anyone who's speaking for them. They're really, really gross. And alongside that, they are the main like pushers for the puzzle piece icon, which please do not use. I've already seen tweets of people really sincerely using the fucking emoji of a puzzle piece, and it makes my skin crawl. I do not have a missing piece. There is nothing missing from me. The fact that I'm autistic doesn't mean that I have this little missing piece that needs to be slotted in so that I can be a normal person. I am a normal person. I'm a normal autistic person. You know, I'm not a puzzling person. I'm not a puzzle for someone to figure out. I don't need I'm not missing anything. It's just a really gross symbol to use in regards to this. And I don't, you know, I get that people don't realise that. You haven't thought into it and you didn't mean to be an asshole. But it's gross. You know, and I see that people are using it with sincerity. I'm not trying to shit on someone. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you've used a puzzle piece emoji whilst trying to support autistic people. I'm just saying maybe don't do it again because it's sort of gross. You can use an infinity symbol. You can use a rainbow infinity symbol. People are using them. I personally don't feel like I need a symbol for autism. I don't need a symbol for my anxiety or my depression. I don't need a symbol for being autistic. It's a little odd. But if people want to do that, like, go for it. And finally, please don't light it up blue. Ugh. I'm fairly sure this is another one that originated from Autism Speaks, although I could be wrong. But most people interpret lighted up blue to be that you're lighting up blue because it's a male disorder. Only men are autistic, it's just boys. When the fact of the matter is loads of different people are autistic. Male, female, non-binary, trans, like in between, gender fluid, whatever else there is, you know. Like there's lots and lots of different types of people that are autistic, and they're not all men or boys. So let's shut that one down. If you really want to light it up in some way, a lot of people are doing go yellow or red instead. I think it's a bit pointless. I think that a lot of Autism Awareness Month is, or you know, this is where we get a little controversial. But to me, a lot of Autism Awareness Month is non-autistic people doing showy things to be the saviour, you know. It's the whole seer debacle all over again. It's all, look at me, I understand autistic people, I care about autistic people, or should I say people with autism, as they probably would, when the fact of the matter is you're just showing off and you're not actually doing anything that's helping us. I think if you're trying to be some sort of an ally to autistic people or understand us better, all you should be doing is listening to us and educating yourself. And they're things that you do in the privacy of your own home and in the quiet, you know. No one knows that you're doing it. We experience you doing it by society and you being a better person towards autistic people, which is what we all deserve. You know, we'll know that you've educated yourself when you refer to us as being autistic instead of having autism, when you either don't use a symbol at all or use an infinity symbol instead of a puzzle piece, when you wear a red shirt instead of a blue shirt to light it up for autism. You know, when people understand that changing light bulb colours to blue is terrible for autistic people. Please don't change the colour of your light bulbs. I don't even like having the big lights on. I'd prefer you had some lamps. But especially don't start fucking with the colours, Jesus. You know, just, it doesn't need to be some big show and tell. You just need to understand that autistic people are just people that are a little different from you. And we deserve the exact same respect and understanding and validity in our thoughts and opinions as anyone else does. And when speaking about autism and being autistic, it should be coming from autistic people. As we get through the month and I see more and more people talking about autism, I'm sure we'll have more videos like this, so you've got that to look forward to. I'm not. Just this month can be really difficult for autistic people because we just see so much shit about how we shouldn't fucking exist, or how people want to like wipe us out and prevent us from being born, or how we're such poor precious little angels that need to be protected, and it's real just not cool. So please just pay a bit of attention to autistic voices. Don't speak over us. If you've liked hearing my autistic voice, I make videos twice a week, so it'd be really cool if you wanted to like or subscribe or anything else. I link my Ko-fi in the bottom of each video if you wanted to donate a little coffee to me. It's something you could do. And I'm done. That's the end of the video. I've spent a really long time filming this and I'm really, really tired now. So I'm gonna go. But whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I'll see you again in a few days.